Hi there, and welcome to The Celeb Tea, the truth behind Sutton Stracke's pain. The story of Sutton Stracke has taken a heartbreaking turn, not because of another heated feud or dramatic on-screen confrontation, but because of a deeply personal pain that the cameras unexpectedly captured. What she revealed recently changed everything fans thought they knew about her. You could see it in her eyes, that fleeting moment when her laughter faded and the truth surfaced. This wasn't another episode of Real Housewives gossip or a feud blown out of proportion. This was something far more profound, a glimpse behind the glamour, gowns, and gossip that exposed a side of Sutton most viewers had never seen. It was a story that finally made sense of her guarded smile, her emotional reactions, and the pain that often surfaced behind her polished exterior. In this story, we walk through Sutton's revelation, her brave admission, the impact it had on her castmates, and the emotional toll of living her truth under the scrutiny of national television. Before Sutton became one of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills' most talked-about figures, she was celebrated for her Southern charm, grace, and effortless sophistication. On screen, she always seemed poised and in control, a woman who could handle the chaos of any dinner party with a calm smile and witty remark. Fans viewed her as quirky, sensitive, but refreshingly real, a breath of authenticity in a cast filled with extremes. Yet beneath that polished facade, Sutton was carrying a quiet, lifelong pain, one that had shaped who she was long before Bravo's cameras started rolling. Born and raised in Augusta, Georgia, Sutton grew up in a traditional Southern household, surrounded by the values of etiquette, faith, and family. She adored ballet, loved fashion, and dreamed of living a glamorous life beyond her small-town roots. But behind the pretty pearls and polite manners, her home life was far from perfect. Her father struggled with depression and addiction, battles that often lurked in the shadows of their seemingly perfect family life. Sutton was only in her 20s when tragedy struck, and she lost him to suicide. It was a moment that forever imprinted itself on her soul, quietly influencing every decision and emotion she carried into adulthood. When Sutton joined the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, it appeared she had achieved everything she once dreamed of: wealth, sophistication, success, and confidence. But the show's spotlight forced her to confront emotions she had buried deep for decades. The world saw her tears and labeled her too emotional or overly sensitive, but very few understood the pain those tears came from. Yes, she clashed with her castmates, and yes, she cried often. But those tears weren't about petty drama or jealousy. They came from a deeper, more personal place. The cameras might have captured moments of tension and laughter, but in between, they also revealed a woman still learning how to heal from a grief that never fully left her. As the seasons progressed, viewers started to notice something deeper in Sutton's behavior. Every year seemed to peel back another layer of her personality. Her reactions weren't just emotional responses to reality TV chaos, they were glimpses into a woman processing unresolved trauma in real time. Behind the glam makeup and couture outfits was a human being trying to navigate life, loss, and vulnerability while the entire world watched. Slowly, the cracks in her carefully built image began to show. What began as a glamorous reality show journey started transforming into a deeply personal, public exploration of her pain. And even as her heartbreak unfolded quietly off-screen, the cameras never stopped rolling. When the new season began, fans noticed a shift in Sutton's energy. The confidence that once defined her started to fade, replaced by visible anxiety, self-doubt, and emotional exhaustion. At first glance, it seemed like more of the same. Another housewives' disagreement, another overreaction, another headline. But as time went on, something about Sutton's breakdowns felt different. She wasn't just reacting to insults or misunderstandings anymore. She was unraveling, in a way that went beyond Bravo-level theatrics. During one particularly tense moment on set, Sutton finally broke down. Her voice trembled as she opened up about a part of her life she had kept hidden for years, not only from her castmates, but also from millions of fans who thought they knew her. She spoke, for the first time, about her father's death. It wasn't just a tragic story to her, it was a wound that had never healed. The room fell silent. You could see the shock on her castmates' faces, a mix of empathy, discomfort, and sorrow. For the first time, the glossy world of Beverly Hills cracked open, revealing something raw, vulnerable, and heartbreakingly real. This wasn't a fiend designed for ratings or drama. It wasn't a scripted meltdown. It was a moment of truth. Sutton's confession was unfiltered and genuine. She explained how her father's struggle with depression had shaped her entire outlook on relationships, trust, and self-worth. She spoke about the guilt she still carried, the endless what-ifs that haunted her. Could I have done more? Could I have seen the signs? Could I have stopped it? It was the kind of vulnerability reality TV rarely shows without turning it into a spectacle. But in that raw moment, as she wiped away her tears and her castmates sat quietly, unsure what to say, viewers finally saw the real Sutton Stracke. Not the socialite, not the perfectionist, but the woman still learning to forgive herself. The cost of truth and the power of healing. After Sutton's raw confession, the atmosphere on set changed completely. Her castmates, often ready with sharp comebacks or sarcastic remarks, sat quietly, visibly moved. For a moment, the typical Beverly Hills glamour and gossip fell away, replaced by genuine compassion. Even those who had clashed with her began to see Sutton in a new light. The vulnerability she revealed wasn't a sign of weakness, it was the beginning of her strength. In the days that followed, fans flooded social media with support. Messages of empathy, shared experiences, and heartfelt admiration poured in. Viewers who had once criticized her emotional reactions began to understand the pain behind them. Many praised her courage for speaking so openly about mental health and grief, topics that are too often hidden behind designer clothes and perfect smiles. For Sutton, that moment was both freeing and terrifying. Exposing the most painful part of her life on national television meant reliving it all over again. Yet, it also marked the start of her healing. She began to speak more openly about loss and resilience, using her platform to remind others that vulnerability isn't something to be ashamed of, it's what makes us human. Her castmates' attitudes toward her shifted as well. The same women who once rolled their eyes at her tears now approached her with kindness. They began to understand that her emotional reactions weren't about attention or drama, but the result of deep scars carried quietly for years. Still, the cost of truth was heavy. Living openly meant Sutton could no longer hide behind her smile or her couture. Every episode became a reminder of her past, every comment online a test of her newfound strength. But instead of retreating, she leaned into it. She turned her pain into purpose, speaking about her father's struggle to raise awareness about mental health and suicide prevention. By the season's end, Sutton's journey had transformed from a storyline into a symbol of survival. Behind the diamonds and designer gowns stood a woman who refused to let her past define her future. Her story became proof that even in a world built on image and illusion, authenticity still has the power to shine through.